Brian has done a very good job, though, of editing those awkward moments out, which is really great.
Yeah,
that's when we're at our funniest, when we're all just shouting the same things at each other.
It's amazing how much time you can clear when it's like of just finding like the dead air moments and just
snipping those down. So it seems like we're smarter than we are.
Yes.
Which is the whole point.
And welcome back to the Trashwatch podcast. This week was Brandon's pick, and we head to the beach while we fight some purple camo ninjas. I'm Chris.
I'm Brian. There are ninjas that surf, I guess, in this movie.
And I'm Brandon saying, Kwansu, dudes.
Kwansu, dudes. Kwansu, dudes.
And we have a very special guest with us joining us today. He was on the early years, or the early year of the Trashwatch podcast.
How long have we been doing this show?
Oh, yeah, back in the I, Frankenstein days.
Oh, my God, I forgot you were on
We
this.
don't speak of that here.
I'm Sam Vestey, child of the 90s.
You know what kills me is I still have that damn DVD in my house.
We should, once we can gather again, we should have a ritual burning.
Really should.
He carries it as remembrance of sins past.
Yeah, it's the chain that he has forged in life that he will wear in the afterlife, a chain of I, Frankenstein DVDs.
But hey, at least it's not as embarrassing as potentially owning a copy of Max Payne on DVD, which I do not.
Ugh.
I don't have it.
Okay. I couldn't remember if you had that one.
we
I
had to
remember you
rent
made us
that
watch
one.
it.
You
thank
said
God.
Max Payne, but I heard Mad Max, and I was like, that was just like a pretty mean thing to say about Mad Max for no reason.
You know, I'm not a...
Chris, you understand, Chris is Thunderdome or nothing at all.
Guys, can't we just get beyond Thunderdome?
It really is a better sequel. I mean, Tina Turner's in it. Come on.
Yeah, well, I mean, I want to save our judgments to the end, but I think it might be safe to say I think I've done it again, boys.
I think you have.
Tapping into my almost exclusive picks of, hey, I remember seeing that VHS box at the movie store when I was a kid and renting it. I've brought us all back to 1993 and Surf Ninjas.
Oh, man.
Oh,
Yeah, Surf Ninjas, starring Ernie Reyes Jr., Ernie Reyes Sr., Rob Schneider, Tone Loc, and Leslie Nielsen.
Oh, my God.
Those people are in this movie, yes.
It's such a 90s lineup right there.
And I think we need to preface here. So, two things. One, you can watch this movie all on YouTube for free. It's streaming the whole thing. If you try to look for it streaming anywhere else, I don't know if you're going to find it.
yeah. Fun fact, if you play it through YouTube, it looks just like your old VHS copy.
It really does.
I was realizing, I'm like, oh, I'm never going to see this movie in like a high quality Blu-ray release. So this is actually more appropriate that I'm watching on this like 240p YouTube video.
Until this podcast blows up and we start driving sales, they're going to demand from the studio to release the 4K release.
Finally, that 4K remaster.
Could you imagine spending $40 for the 4K remaster of Surf Ninjas?
I don't even have a way to play 4K material, and I would buy it
Yeah, I
today.
would too, honestly. And the second part is you cannot make this movie ever again. I think we need to preface this ahead of time. This movie can never be recreated.
It was absolutely of its time, yeah. For anyone who hasn't seen the film,
Case in point, Rob
the
Schneider.
plot is...
In his greatest role.
I mean, I would put money on that.
I was like, I don't say that ironically.
I actually enjoy him for most of this film. Most of this film, I find I really enjoy Rob Schneider's performance.
Oh, before I forget, talking about Rob Schneider's character, something that me and Brenna noted while watching it was what is good about his character is that he is diegetically annoying.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
it is the annoying sidekick character that you get in most 90s movies, except like even the characters in the movie are annoyed with him.
Who was the younger brother?
The younger brother, I believe he isn't acting much anymore. Yeah, Nicolas Cowan.
Nowadays he's a graphic designer. He did the animation and character design for the Cheech and Chong animated movie.
That tracks. Yeah.
All right, boys. Let's actually hop into this movie. So the one sentence synopsis, just to summarize the entire thing we're about to talk about for probably, I don't know, 4 hours. Who knows? It's us. Two boys learn from a mysterious warrior that they are the heirs to the throne of Patusan and set out to overthrow the current monarchy. Which is some interesting ways to describe what's happening.
I also don't think that's true, because I don't think General Chi is claiming that he is the rightful monarch.
Yeah.
I think he's just a dictator. Yeah, it's not a monarchy, it's a dictatorship.
The monarchy was already destroyed. That's what General Chi is trying to do by killing them.
Yes. All right, so we open on surfing, because it's Surf Ninjas, so we have to open with some surfing to establish the first part of our title. So over the opening titles, we are surfing while a eye-patched gentleman weirdly narrates about finding these boys.
Interrupts the opening credits to give us some narration.
And it's like 2 lines. It's not even like they describe the whole setup. It's just 2 random lines, and then they're silent while surfing happens.
But the thing is, these credits go on for 6 minutes. Like, I checked the time. Like, the directed by credit comes at the 6-minute mark.
Yeah, well, it's all surfing. They filmed a bunch of surfing. Like, we don't have anywhere else to put this in the movie, so here we go.
It's not even just surfing. Like, half the plot happens.
We come from our surfing to morning at the, I don't even know their last name, house. So we have, this is where we meet Johnny, played by Ernie Reyes Jr., his younger brother Adam, and their adoptive father Mac.
So my first note here when they're talking to the dad, Mac, was thank God these kids got their mother's good looks, because I didn't realize that they were adopted. I guess I missed that whole part.
Good on you for not seeing race.
Right? But the only thought I had was like, oh, is Rob Schneider supposed to be like their ugly Brooklyn accent actual like half-brother or whatever? Like, oh, we have these 2 very good-looking young surfing ninjas, and then we have Rob Schneider who's like, I did not get any of mom's genes.
Yeah, so they're having their typical morning fight where the dad's like, hey, did you do your homework? They want to establish that they're cool kids, and they don't do homework, I guess.
By crazy coincidence, I also didn't like homework as a kid.
They're just like me. I must be a surf ninja.
This movie is so relatable.
But also during this scene, we get a setup that, like, for however many times I watched this film, is the first time I noticed them trying to like put this thing over, where the younger brother keeps mentioning that he wants to drive.
Oh, yeah.
Lucas, like, we just want to drive, but the man won't let us at this breakfast scene. And I was like, wait, what? And then he mentions it once again later, and then I was like, oh wait, I guess he does drive a car later, but is that supposed to be like a big triumphant moment? Was that an arc?
Yeah, that was his arc. You know, Iggy has the what if stuff, and he's got the car.
I've watched this film dozens of times, and this is the first time I've actually noticed them trying to mention driving.
Was anyone else completely disturbed by the idea of putting beets into an omelet?
Well, don't worry, though, because you get some nice relief in the form of a blue camouflaged ninja. Our first of the...
Thus fulfilling the second half of the title.
Yes, they lampshade hang this later because Rob Schneider points it out,
so
and I feel like
because that was one of my notes. I was like, "These are the worst. What's with the camouflage? Like they're so obvious. Like, come on, movie." And then Rob Schneider's character said exactly that, and I'm like, "Well, fuck. Now I can't."
Well, fuck you, Rob Schneider.
So after the ninja is dispatched by the mysterious stranger, they head to school as any young surf ninjas will by moto surfing.
I have no idea if that's actually a thing or not, being that I was like 7 in the Midwest at the time, and not knowing what like driving teenagers in Southern California were doing.
That's fair. It could be 100% accurate, but it sure looks dumb.
I love that moment when they drive past the police officer and he's pulled over another car for also canoeing with their car.
One thing I will say, I think the thing I like about Rob Schneider is they gave him a bunch of like Marx Brothers level jokes where they're just like play on words, basic observations. So he goes, because Johnny's trying to think, I need a homework excuse. What if I say I just found out I was adopted last night? And he goes, you were adopted last night. Why didn't your dad adopt you when you were a baby? And I was like, I could see him pulling out a cigar and like, eh? And I was here for it. Like, I understand now if anyone wants to not like it, but man, I love just all the Marx Brothers style jokes that Rob Schneider's character has throughout this thing. So the thing he forgot to do is he's supposed to do an introduction for the Baba Ram, a holy man from Asia is how they very vaguely describe him.
When we had school assemblies, did you, I never had a school assembly where like a foreign dignitary showed up.
You weren't in Southern California.
No, I guess not, Although I will say, the weirdest one that we ever had, we had a assembly where they brought in a guy that was addicted to methamphetamines, and he was super skinny and had no teeth, and for a half an hour told us that we would very, very easily screw up our lives like him. And I just remember being like 12 and petrified.
They didn't bring him in, he just showed up.
I would say that when we were brought in a special guest, they would always do something for us. We were never like doing a presentation for them. That was the weird part of it.
And honestly, I mean, what Johnny ends up doing is much closer to the kind of assemblies.
Well, first off, we get the just beautiful introduction from the principal, where he has the two glorious lines: "An Asian American student has been compelled to volunteer." And then, "I've been assured that it is in the traditional ethnic style." And I was like, that is a very accurate 90s writing for this principal.
I can see why they tried so hard to bury this movie.
Oh, like it's like that actually rings as like well written, like nice satire on the racism of the 90s. It was glorious. Also during this we get a cut to a trash truck full of ninjas. So that is in like two scenes. I guess it feels to me like they're sitting around and someone's like, "Oh, the Tetsons are going to ask how all these ninjas get around. We got to show how they get all across town."
Hey, Rimshot, does this garbage truck feel heavier to you?
Oh my god.
That's what we need, the Surf Ninjas Ernest crossover we've all been waiting for.
Ernest kills Surf Ninja.
I mean, I would see that. I would kickstart it today if someone came like, "You know what, we're going to use archival footage of Jim Varney."
Well, no, you just get his friend who took over for Slinky Dog.
Oh yeah, the guy from
Yeah,
Boy
and you
Meets
just
World.
have him do the voice, make it animated.
Yeah, there we go. Animated Ernest, just like a Roger Rabbit situation. Oh yes, I'm sorry for anyone who hasn't seen this film though. The way he actually welcomes this Babaram is they sing Barbara Ann from the Beach Boys, replacing Barbara Ann with Babaram.
So you got to remember, I saw this when I was a kid in 1993. I had not heard Barbara Ann. I hadn't heard Barbara Ann for years after this. So to me, that was the song. And every time I've heard Barbara Ann, I hear Baba Ram.
And you're like, that's weird that this song from Surf Ninjas is playing on the radio, but okay.
It's like the prayer outliving a Quest for Camelot.
Yes. Oh my god. I love that they tried to rhyme Baba Ram with Hold My Hand.
I kind of wish they had gone more. I wish they had gone Hold My Hand.
Hold my hand.
In the traditional ethnic style.
Yeah, Chris, you just don't understand because it's the ethnic style. You're too white, so.
It's true, I am very much too white.
Now we got to establish some more regular life, so we get Adam looking for Spain. A delightful little kid doesn't know his homework sequence. Where we also get another camouflage ninja,
which is one of my favorite ones because he's just slipping around behind the window for no reason.
Also, like all the class would definitely see him. He's just standing at the window. Two ninjas flip past the window, and these kids aren't going like, "Holy shit, a ninja! I'm a small child. I love ninjas. I don't see."
Also, if one of those windows at the top that if that flips open, everyone's looking. Everyone is noticing that opening because fourth graders will freak out about that.
Also, I tried to look down through the IMDb listing to find out, and then I got bored and stopped. During the sequence of Adam looking for Spain, they keep cutting to a very strong close-up of this one turd laughing.
It's got to be like the director's kid,
and I was
right?
like, yeah, it's like it has to be the director's kid because he's so like prominently placed. He doesn't speak. It's just him laughing every time Adam misidentifies Spain. And yeah, so I figured he was someone's son, but I could not find a cast listing for him.
He's one of a couple bit parts that part of me wondered if they were going to be important later. They weren't.
Oh, I have one very surprising cast for a bit part we'll get to in a little bit. But from Adam, we get to our reveal of our villain. We get the Colonel Chi reveal as he strides down, cloaked in shadow. We see a robot hand, and then the profile of a face, and a quick turn, and a robot half of his face. That's right. It's Leslie Nielsen as some type of cyborg man named Colonel Chi.
Oh, and he looks so much like a Borg.
He does. And then we get this is why I cast Leslie Nielsen, because then we get this answering machine bit where in this evil cave lair, just normal phone starts ringing, and he rushes towards it like the old man that he is. And he just has this very mundane, "Hey, this is Colonel Chi, leave a message and I'll call you back, and don't hang up." And he gets the phone just too late and they hung up.
Oh my god. And they run that bit into the ground, but I laughed every time.
There's a build on it later that like I got a genuine laugh out of me.
Yeah, they escalate later. The later scene is really good, but this one's very good because then he gets a call afterwards. He talks, and it's person communicating about going after the kids. And he's like, good. And he's like, oh, wait, were you the one who called earlier? And it wasn't. So he still doesn't know who he called. So he throws the phone across the room, and all his prisoners that are being tortured laugh at him.
Yes.
So I guess it's nice that he keeps some lighthearted entertainment around for, his torture victims.
I had to note the guy that's like hanging by his wrist behind the phone is just giggling the whole time.
Well, because it's Leslie Nielsen. He's hilarious.
I mean, if I was going to be incarcerated, or hung by the ceiling, I would hope he was around.
Real quick, interjection. So going back to what you said before, that kid who they kept cutting to and laughing is the son of the writer, Dan Gordon. And his name is Yanni Gordon, and he now is like a folk singer.
Well, with a name like Yanni, what else would you do?
Yeah, you don't have many options.
Well, I have called him a turd, so
he's finished.
He's really blackballed him now.
No.
Just all of his promotional materials just say like "turd" in quotes attributed to Brandon.
Yeah.
He just woke from a nightmare going like, some guy in Ohio just ruined my career.
Got him on another death list now. Great. Another one.
Speaking of on a death list, these two boys.
We get to a surf sequence, and now we finally merge the scene of surfing with the scene of ninjas. Because the boys start surfing, and once again that trash truck full of ninjas shows up. And this is where we get our properly camouflaged in the water ninja with his harpoon gun.
And then he just gets surfed on.
Yeah, he just gets whacked in the head. He's standing there. He has a shot. Like, I'm sorry, he had the shot. He should have taken it. He had the shot. And he just got hit in the face instead.
Listen, he buckled under the pressure. Sometimes you just choke.
This entire movie kind of feels like a giant music video all at once, doesn't it?
They certainly cut to a lot of, as the dad would call it, Van Halen music, which is definitely not Van Halen music.
They do not have Van Halen money.
No, I do want to briefly shout out in the surf sequence though. I love the wax buildup on the surfboard of Rob Schneider, because it's the joke that Rob Schneider actually never goes out. He's like, well, I got to wax up my board, and while he's saying this, you can see just like disgusting like full chunks of wax already like caked on his board. And I was like, good job, prop person, to like take the time to actually get a disgustingly waxy surfboard.
So yeah, one of the ninjas pops up and tries to harpoon one of the kids, but he hits him with his surfboard. And as they're coming back into the beach, did you catch the moment when Ernie Reyes Jr. says, "Yeah, it was real weird. It felt like I hit a rock or something." I'm pretty sure he killed that guy.
Oh yeah, we see him. His corpse washed up in of just a magical bit of like visual comedy,
and the children are just like, oh, okay,
of just entering the frame into the background and then getting pulled away,
and then the dog chases after him.
Yeah,
I mean, that man was unconscious underwater for quite a while, and then his bloated corpse washed up on shore.
If he comes back, he's not going to be the same.
All right, so now we have this Johnny from Surf Ninjas kill count at least one so far.
Yes, confirmed one murder for Johnny. Did we get this time? I don't know why, because I'm just so delighted by the movie. I probably didn't care before, but I noticed there's a quick scene where Rob Schneider is getting a corn dog, and then like Zatch bumps into him and then gives him the evil eye. It serves no function, because Zatch was like already following them. He's not like, because normally you had a sequence like that, be like, oh, he pickpocketed like the key to their house or something, but like no. It's just a random scene they had of Rob Schneider bumping into him.
I would love to know what was on the cutting room floor of this movie.
Nothing.
Yeah. They used every last second of film they shot.
Well, that still works, Brandon.
All right. Well, then we cut to nighttime at the hamburger stand, and this is where they finally like actually meet the weirdo from following them around and learn that his name is Zatch, and apparently their dad knows him. First off, his name is Zatch, and now he wears a patch. Like, I don't know I don't know if I want his name to have been Patch before he got an eye patch, or if I want his name to not rhyme with Patch. But I want one of those.
Sorry, we live in an Otto Octavius world, so
I guess that's true. I just have to apply comic book logic where people's names just line up. Where Remus Lupin becomes a werewolf.
If someone told me this was based on a comic book, I would just believe them, like without hesitation.
I would be on Comixology right now subscribing if there was a Surf Ninja ongoing series.
That would be the best part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Can
you imagine like that scene at the end of Endgame? Just everyone's coming out of the portals, and then just Johnny and Adam and Rob Schneider just come surfing out.
Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah, we forgot to mention, if you're picturing Rob Schneider, good job. But also, you should imagine that he has bright orange hair in this film.
To young him up, I guess.
On the poster to this movie, he has black hair.
Really?
Oh my God,
Yes,
I didn't even pay attention.
He has dark hair on the poster.
He sure does. He has just regular black hair. Oh my God. I swear, it had to be to age him up. They had to like look at it and go like, he looks too old. Let's give him bright orange hair. Old people would never do that to their hair.
I had to take a moment though, because Ernie Reyes Jr. is wearing in this sequence, and for the pretty much the remainder of the movie, he is wearing a tie-dye t-shirt and overall shorts. And
it's very 90s.
Yeah, but like I was thinking back, even in the 90s, I don't know if I could have pulled off wearing overalls without looking like a child white supremacist.
First off, none of us can pull off what Ernie Reyes Jr. can pull off. So let's just forget that notion. Also, later when you see him bust off a shirt and how jacked he is, there's a lot of stuff that Ernie Reyes Jr. can pull off that we can't.
His shirt in public, for one.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. This is a pretty fun little fight sequence with ninjas crashing through literally every window in the building in separate
They had
turns.
so much candy glass. They were like,
They just keep cutting. Like, here's a ceiling, here's a skylight, here's another window, here's a back door window. Like, just keep cutting to ninjas jumping through windows.
And Mac kills at least two of them. Like he straight up like puts a fryer or something in the face of one of them.
Oh no, he throws one of them on the oven, and he just sits there while his ass cooks, and I'm like, jump off the oven!
Yeah, for the most part, this is just kind of like a slapsticky fun fight. Like, Zach uses a skateboard for part of it, because that was super cool. But then Rob Schneider taketh away by doing puts on an apron, say, no speak English, clean dishes.
I had to say, though, this movie is impressively violent for a children's film.
Why, it's funny you bring that up, Chris.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have our recurring segment. Brian takes us into the IMDb Parents Guide.
Under the entry Violence and Gore, of which there are 9 entries.
Of course there is. There should be more.
There are some violent scenes for a PG-rated movie, but nothing too intense. Lots of punching and kicking, and karate/martial arts style fighting. Oh, also, one of the entries is literally just in all caps. Some scenes include dash 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 dash.
Oh, they forgot to put what they include.
It's a separate line in a document.
Oh my god!
Which the same thing happens under the frightening and intense scenes entry, which we can get to soon once we get to the flashback.
So they quickly escape to the beach. Mac tells Zach to get the kids out of there, which is very odd. First off, in the overall sequence of this, he takes them to the beach, and then immediately they all go back to the place they just were.
Yeah.
It seems like 30 seconds have passed when they're like, all right, well, let's go back to where all the ninjas were. I'm sure it's fine now. But there's a couple things I noted here. The Adam calls the ninjas a bunch of quimbies.
What the hell is a quimby?
So I do know, because I looked it up. When we were watching, and it's very good. Hold on, let me pull it up exactly so I don't butcher it. On UrbanDictionary.com, we've got an entry for quimby that is a goon, a nameless, faceless part of a gang, a hanger-on, a sidekick of a more outspoken, charismatic bully. Take the classic movie Surf Ninjas. Dude, who are those quimbies in the camo pajamas?
Oh my god.
We have no evidence that this makes sense beyond this film. This might be exclusively slang from this movie, which I'm fine with.
Yeah, I mean, that entry was from 2005. So, obviously we're not going to have an Urban Dictionary entry from the 70s, but...
All right, now, guys, now don't allow me to impugn the fine name of writer Dan Gordon, but we have a moment here where Adam hears Patusan and thinks that it is Portasan, the name of a popular portable toilet company. And I have a real strong suspicion that was reverse engineered.
Absolutely not. It isn't.
It isn't?
Because Ernie Reyes Jr., when he was a child actor, more child than this, was on a TV show called Sidekicks. Not to be confused with the Chuck Norris movie about ninjas, Sidekicks. That's a different thing. But he was on a TV show called Sidekicks where he played a young boy who was from the fictional island of Patusan.
Shut up.
So it's in the Sidekicks universe.
Interesting. Well, we have to watch all of Sidekicks now and connect the dots.
This movie has a connection to Sidekicks in that both movies have a surprise wheelchair.
No, not the movie. This is the TV show. It's not the Chuck Norris movie.
But this is So they find that the place is empty now, and this is where we get the full exposition. We get the Patusan flashback.
When they're doing that whole sequence and they're talking about I'm gonna fuck it up. Patusan. Why does Thatch or Zatch take the baby, throw the baby up in the air, then catch the baby and then kick? Shouldn't it be throw, kick, catch?
Well, he's throwing the baby to avoid the sword swipe, except that the insert shot that they used of the baby in the air still shows the arms in that shot and not a sword going through it. So there really is no point.
I legitimately, though, I rewound that whole section for probably conservatively 3 or 4 times to be like, no, okay, I have to understand, why is he throwing the baby in the air to catch it and then kick?
Hey, I have a very strong suspicion that there was no stunt choreographer, and it was basically just the director asked Ernie Reyes Jr. and Sr. to like make up stuff on the spot.
Ernie Reyes Sr. was the stunt choreographer for the movie.
Yep, that makes sense. And I imagine he got no prep time. And I was like, all right, we're here. Here's a bunch of extras. What should we do? I don't know. How about he throws the sword, toss the baby in the air, the sword swipes. He's like, yeah, I got it.
Also, the moment where the elephant crushes Leslie Nielsen's head.
You mean where he dives under the elephant's foot?
Holy shit.
Yes, where he's like sitting on the ground. And it is
it's almost going to step on me. I better move under its foot more.
Not to suggest that the logic of this film isn't airtight. But the shot we're meant to get is that the elephant like stomped on half of Leslie Nielsen, and that's why you need to get all these like cybernetic implants. But why are the arm that's replaced and the face the opposite halves?
Like, they are, aren't they?
I think that's just a separate incident.
Yeah.
So only his face got smashed with the elephant, and then it's a completely separate incident. He lost his arm.
Yeah, well, it's not a completely separate incident. It was the same elephant stepped on him again, but like 10 years later.
Yeah, it was like a Captain Hook situation, and like the crocodile hunting him down. It's the elephant hunting down Leslie Nielsen.
Did you guys not even read the comic book origins like things that came out?
I slept in this morning. My alarm didn't go off.
Nicolas Cowan, the kid who plays Adam, he is utterly delightful to watch throughout this entire movie, by the way. His reactions to things is fantastic.
Except he won't stop looking at his frickin' Nintendo.
Sega, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, guys, I don't know if you could tell. That's a little behind-the-scenes fact. It's very subtle, so you might not pick up on it. Do you know Sega actually helped finance this film?
And there was a Surf Ninjas Game Gear game that actually came out.
Which I had.
Okay, so I had that as a question. Was there a legitimate game?
Yes, they built the movie around it. Like they built the movie with that in mind. Like they built set pieces that they thought would translate to a video game.
That's what I was saying. What were you saying?
I was just saying, like, I had it as a kid. I played it all the time on my Game Gear.
Yes, I will note that it is different than the game you actually see him playing. I mean, some of the scenes
there's
overlap,
the same scenes, but there's
the best part of the game is when you play the elephant and you have to stomp on Leslie Nielsen's face.
Well, you stomp on half of his face and then the other arm. It's very challenging.
Yeah. If you like, screw that up, the whole game is it's over.
Then you break the timelines. It's a whole.
But I do want to bring up, because this is where we come back to the IMDb Parents Guide, the entries for frightening and intense scenes. There are 4 of them. First entry: a man's face is crushed by an elephant on screen in a flashback. In parentheses, he is shown throughout the movie with a steel plate molded to his face. Second entry: ... It is similar to Phantom of the Opera.
Oh my god, I want to see.
Oh, that's why that faceless man kept luring the young woman to sing for him.
I mean, I now have new headcanon for Phantom of the Opera about why he has the mask. Well, he was trying to lead a military uprising in Patusan.
I just want to see Leslie Nielsen play the Phantom now so bad.
Third entry. The theme of a cult of communist rebels wanting to kill children may upset some people.
That may upset some people, I guess.
Also, are these communist rebels?
I guess so.
I mean, it was like just after the fall of the Berlin Wall, so they're like, yeah, they're communists.
Because that entry also shows up in the violence and gore section.
I will say one of my favorite things about the flashback, though, is they cut back to the kids who are being told all this huge, like, earth-shattering stuff about their background, and they could not give less of a shit.
They're like excited for the backstory to end.
Yeah, and he's like he's told them about how their parents died in a military action, and they're just like, whatever, nerd. Yeah, and then so Zatch is the like royal guard whose job is to protect the royal family, who like escapes with the kids, immediately gives them to American, and then just fucks off. Like, good luck. Here are the only heirs left to our royal family. Bye.
And like Mac is just on a boat. He's ready to go. Just hang around like, oh yeah, sure. Hand me those kids. I'll take them.
Yeah, he's an American sailor. That's just what they do. They hang out in docks with a boat ready to sail.
So I forgot to mention, because there are 4 entries under frightening and intense scenes. So we've mentioned a man's face is crushed by an elephant. I've mentioned that it is similar to Phantom of the Opera. I've mentioned the theme of a cult of communist rebels wanting to kill children. And the final entry, other than that, ... nothing really.
Nothing really.
It's fine.
All right, let me see if you guys can decipher one of Brandon's notes, a recurring feature on our podcast. I wrote down drive-through line. Does anyone remember a line about a drive-through? Oh, the drive-through line. That's right. The kid mentions drive again here.
The crucial setup, planting seeds.
I'm really happy you figured that out before we had to.
Yeah, you got your hyphen in the wrong place.
Yes, this is the second mention where for some reason Adam, and this is even more poorly placed than before, he just mentions like, I want to drive, and like that's a weird thing to say.
It's like, yeah, don't you have to be able to drive to save the world or whatever?
I guess. I will give the movie credits. This is a movie where like mysterious past comes up and they have a destiny, but they actually call the cops because their father's been kidnapped. Like, this is an atypical move for most films, and I really like them. And double bonus points because the cop who shows up is Tone Loc.
Yes, the funky cold Medina himself.
I do really like at the end of the scene of the cops like checking out the burger restaurant. These 2 stoners.
Did you recognize one of them, Brandon?
To order. I did. This is the casting I found out. I looked up and I wanted to confirm. One of them is Mitch Hurwitz, creator of Arrested Development.
Shut up.
When I saw that, I was like, oh, did he like write for this or something? Nope.
He's just in this movie. When Tone Loc is driving them to Uncle Eddie's house, and he takes them out of the car and starts talking to them about their dad probably being okay. He probably just ran away from them.
He probably just abandoned you.
He's probably not dead. He probably just hates you.
But then we get a simultaneous Rob Schneider giveth and taketh away.
What the actual fuck is about to happen?
Because rolling into frame, playing their Uncle Ernie with a Scottish accent in a wheelchair, for some reason, with a Hitler mustache, Rob Schneider. I can't figure out any of the combination of these choices. I don't know why a wheelchair would make him look older. I think
it's supposed to be Scottish because he's wearing like the tam or whatever. He's wearing that hat.
Yeah, but do Scottish people have Hitler mustaches famously? Are they famously in wheelchairs?
I think that was just Rob Schneider found it and was like, finally my chance.
Here's the thing though. Have any of you ever watched Rob Schneider stand up before?
No, he's been in a wheelchair the whole time. He can't stand up. That's insensitive, Chris.
No, but if you ever do like find yourself on the rabbit hole and you start watching his actual like comedy special,
yeah, when I'm at the end of my rope,
yeah, this completely tracks. Like the man he has no sense of shame. He's like, it'll be funny.
Yeah, I can tell that by his current...
everything else.
Yeah, everything else will do that too. Also, not to sidebar here, I recently saw Rob Schneider's on stage and he's introducing his daughter, because I guess his daughter is like a folk singer now. And if you haven't seen this video, you really need to seek it out, because a woman comes out who looks exactly like Rob Schneider with a nose ring and long blonde hair, and that is his daughter. And that to me is the most tragic part.
What is it with these people and their kids becoming folk singers?
Well,
That's true.
I don't know, money.
We're going back to the old timey things.
Is that what happened to all of us? If our parents were rich enough, we'd just all be folk singers
Yes.
right now.
Well, that's the thing. Half of Hollywood, the next generation goes on to act in movies. They all get cast as the Manson family in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. The other half all become folk singers and join a real life Manson family.
All right. So now the kids are home alone. We forgot to mention there's a through line of Rob Schneider, because Rob Schneider realizes he now has the power to say "what if," and he makes things come true. Because earlier in the film he said, what if I was adopted and my dad was a king? So he still thinks that he is the one who is the heir to Patusan. And they at least have one scene where Ernie Reyes Jr. goes like, "Hey, buddy, you're not Asian. How could you be the king of Patusan?" And he goes, "David Carradine in Kung Fu." There's a pretty great joke at this moment, because Zach sneaks in and he goes, see how easily I could have killed you if I was sent by General Chi? And Adam goes, "I'm 11 years old. Congratulations."
Wait, you want a pat on the back?
Yeah.
I wish this guy would have
He's
done
like-
more acting, because his
Right?
sarcasm is just so good.
Yeah. His delivery is so great. And I was like, way to go. You can kill an 11-year-old, dumbass. You're an adult.
We have to talk about Rob Schneider coming in holding up Playboy magazine to children.
I mean, he's also a children, so
Yeah, like it's weird because it's Rob Schneider, but like if I was a 16-year-old and a friend of mine who was all 16 said, "Hey, I have some Playboys," I would go, "Cool, good find, bro." Because back then,
Just real quick, under the IMDb Parents Guide, I'm not going to read the whole entry. Well, actually, I will read the whole entry because there's a great typo. So first off, it's like Iggy pulls out, and this is capital A, capital M, adult magazines. In parentheses, no nudity or sex. ... And he makes a small joke about Johnny's father hiding the magazones under his bed like everyone else.
Magazones.
You got to stay away from the magazone now.
all right. I really enjoyed the joke. So we get so to escape the ninjas, Zach turns on the gas on the stove, and he gets a pot and sets up a candle. But Rob Schneider peeks around the corner and just sees him like turning on the gas and getting a pot. And he goes back to the guys. He goes, "I think he's cooking,"
Yeah.
which I legitimately laughed at. Like the delivery is great.
Oh yeah, because it's so sincere.
So they punch one ninja who made it inside, screaming. They get outside, and then we get a roof ninja.
My favorite, like when he just and again, all the other ninjas have been flipping and doing tricks, and this guy just like dives off the roof.
Well, I mean, he was ready. He was like, "Oh, I'm going to show them."
Here's the thing: even if Zach hadn't moved, and the ninja had just like dove headfirst and stabbed Zach, killing him, he then would have snapped his neck by falling on the concrete headfirst.
I thought it was interesting that Adam's seeing ability translates into a video game. Like
Kind of wish that they had because I like the idea of like they were always destined to be this, and their powers find them through whatever like culture they know. Like maybe if he was in Patusan, it would be like, oh, he goes to a temple and like meditates. I kind of wish like the ninja skills that Johnny later develops would be like all surf moves. He's like, "Oh, it's just like surfing," and he like described all his kung fu as surf moves. So that way, like tying in like, yeah, this kid plays video games all the time, so his superpowers are like, whatever, sure, video games, here you go. But then we get to it.
Oh.
Sam, we finally arrived at one of the moments that we quote forever.
I watched this. I watched this with my partner Brenna, and she'd never seen this before. But as soon as he gives the greatest line in the film of "What if I lose this power?" she immediately turns to me and goes, "Oh, that's what that's from."
Yeah, it's the sort of thing that Sam and I have said for years around people, with like regardless of if they know the context. So he's walking down the street. He's like, "I don't know if you want to," because like, "You gotta go to Patusan." Like, "No, we gotta go back to our house. It's back there." He's like, "I don't know if you want to go there. He left the gas on. What if the house blows up?" And the house immediately blows up, thus cementing in Rob Schneider's mind his power. He goes, "Oh my god, I blew up my friend's house." He's like, I have such a tremendous weight with this power. What am I gonna do? What if I lose this power? Oh my God! I just said, what if I lose this power?
And it's again. That's why I say like this is one of Rob Schneider's like seriously best roles, because the way he delivers that is perfect.
I will say, I think this is a very well like paced movie, because I noted like it's basically like 15 minutes in, like ninja attacks start happening. 30 minutes in, the house blows up. Like 45 minutes in, they get on the boat to Patusan.
Hey, it's a tight 90.
Yeah, and then like an hour in, they like are heading towards the final fight. It's pretty well like chunked out. Where like okay, every like 15 minutes we're going on to like the next sort of segment of film.
Well, it's also because there's not really a B plot. They occasionally cut to Leslie Nielsen like hamming it up for a moment, but that's only to pass time in the other scenes.
Speaking of which, our next scene is a Leslie Nielsen check-in. I will say this is probably my favorite like actual comedy in the thing, is him with this call waiting. So Leslie Nielsen's on the phone, escalating his dealing with the phone before, because this time he picks it up in time. He talks to the person, and he's like, "They escaped. Zach, I should have known Zach for getting away." He's like, "Kill them, kill them." And he's like, "Oh wait, I have another call." And then he switches, and he goes, "Hello? Kill them, kill them."
And then he goes back.
He's like, "Where were they? Oh yes, kill them. Send more men to Los Angeles." But yeah, so this is where they go to Little Patusan.
Which great. That is such a good.
Like I'm fine. I'm here for it.
Yes,
I'm
this
here
is where you get the best Patusani food in all of Los Angeles.
So at the Patusan thing, they have this like big dinner to welcome their prince, and this is where he meets his bride to be, which is, she's also a teenager, so he's a teenager. Like it's weird for us as adults watching a film where like this teenage child bride is presented as like this desire object for our hero, but they're supposed to be the same age. And also, she doesn't have much to do. It's not very fleshed out, but I will say that Kelly Hu playing Rome does a really good job.
She's Deathstrike. She's Lady Deathstrike in the X-Men movies.
Yes,
and I did not know that until I looked into that.
Next, we have the fight at the palace, because Adam sees on his Game Gear 4 seconds before it happens. I will say this is the shittiest fortune telling of the thing, because the fortune telling the device did is he picked an octopus, and then he physically had to go and pick up an octopus and put it on a dude's face. I was like, you kind of just did what the game told you to, more so than the game telling you what's going to happen. The
game told him that the octopus was an option and that it would work.
I guess that's fair. But this is where Johnny suddenly realizes that he can do kung fu, which is great. And for some reason, Ode to Joy starts playing.
A little bit of the old Ludwig van.
Yes, nothing says kung fu more than Ode to Joy.
Watching him fight, though, it's so refreshing. It's just like movies like this as a kid just made me think like the necessity of my knowledge of having knowledge of being able to fight like this was so important as a child. I'm like, we have to all learn karate. Look at all the movies.
It's a real quicksand situation where you overvalued its importance.
Also, I've already found an emulator for the Surf Ninjas video game, and I am very much looking forward to playing this when we get off this call.
I thought you were going to say, and I'm already halfway through the first level.
I can't get past the elephant.
Well, after the fights, though, he's like one day into being a prince, and he immediately starts punching commoners.
Why are the children running away from the cops when they're the victims?
Probably because the cops will recognize that they can't just like randomly go to a foreign country when their parent goes.
Also, they're not white.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the big in this. You're in L.A. Yeah, you're.
Yeah, so they at this point they're boarding a boat, and the cop follows them on there.
No, just joins.
Tone Loc like catches up with them finally. I do like the line he says he's been stepping over ninjas all over town. Oh, we forgot. Did we mention that they travel by map?
But hold on.
And by travel by map, I don't mean animated. I mean,
did you guys catch the thing about the map?
But where they have Patusan on it?
Where they started. They started in New York and went like through Mexico instead of the Panama Canal. But like, even though they were in LA, like
what the fuck?
No. Oh my God. Good catch, Sam. That's amazing. I did not see that. I was too distracted by the fact that we weren't like watching a graphic or just like zooming over a map, but we had like a little toy battleship, and someone's fingers were visibly dragging it along a map.
That's what it was. Brenna was the one that caught the coming from the East Coast, and then also said like, yes, this is an acceptable version of the Indiana Jones Red Line traveling.
Yeah. Yeah, it honestly feels like an animation placeholder. Like the director's like, here, I want like this. So just like animate a boat like sailing on the map like this,
like,
and the
editor was like, oh, okay, got it, like that. Okay, boom.
Did you all enjoy seeing the like crudely drawn in Patusan in the South China Sea? There's like they just made like a yellow circle with a highlighter, just like a big blot, and then wrote Patusan on it.
These fucking knife jokes.
Yes.
Yes. So they're on Patusan. They get there. He sinks the boat, which is technically important for later. And they're walking through, and he's like, we're going to go to this village, and then we're going to get to the caves of Quanzu, where you will get your inheritance. And like, oh, what is it, treasure? He's like, more valuable than treasure. The fabled knives of Quanzu.
There's something money can't buy. Once I went into a cutlery store, and he said, here's $100,000. Can I buy a knife? And they say, no, money can't buy knives.
I guess that's why you don't see him around.
That famous saying, because knives are happiness.
They came across a rubber tree blocking their way. Unfortunately, they could not chop it down. For as you know, money can't buy knives.
Continuing around the planet.
Yeah, then Tone Loc gets on it. The Tone Loc last little knife joke. I swear to God, the knife jokes. I will say that those don't even make sense in context.
And that is the other thing that I was like, what if I lose this power and money can't buy knives? Are the two things that I quote out of context constantly.
Between that and brothers don't surf.
Yeah, I wrote down, fellas, is it too white to surf? Because he would get, if they found out back in LA that he surfed, he would get shot in the hood, I believe is what he said.
Well, brings us back to the IMDb Parents Guide. Under profanity, it says,
oh my God.
A small racial joke about black people not being able to surf. However, it's made from rapper Tone Loc.
So it's probably fine, right? Right? Question mark.
I mean, we're writing the IMDb Parents Guide, so you know we're white, so we're not sure, but
and you can tell by these overuse of ellipses, I'm a boomer.
So I think the scene that he's referring to in this other entry under violence, I think that was probably part of the flashback as well. Because does Zach get his eye cut during that?
Yes.
Yep, okay, because I've been wanting to read this. I couldn't remember what this entry corresponded to, but it's another one of my favorites. Not my most favorite. We'll get to it near the end of the movie.
Ooh.
But so this is a man's eye is cut open on screen, in parentheses, however, shown from an angle to where you don't really, quote unquote, see it as his back is turned to the camera, out of parentheses. Get it? See it? Smiley face. ... He is then shown with blood running off of his face.
Man,
I need to give this person a hug.
like, I need like an Italian neorealism film that's just about the day-to-day life of the people who sit down and write the IMDb Parents Guide.
So we shortly get another trope that we saw in Anaconda's Hunt for the Blood Orchid here, with a delightful monkey carrying an object.
Yes. They get to the cave they're searching for the caves of Quanzu, which are hidden, where Zach does not know. But a monkey helps because steals the Game Gear and takes them over to the statue. This is when the Game Gear is doing like a hot-cold game. Like, imagine how frustrating that'd be if you had like a magic thing that tells you the future, and instead of telling you the future, it's like, you're close.
This kind of feels like a Surf Ninja's version of Pokemon Go.
Fortunately, he finds the little latch, which slides his brother down into the caves of Quanzu. And this is where Zach attacks him in a forced training fight, which really feels like they're like, all right, guys, we have the two good people who are good at martial arts. We need to have one fight between the two of them.
Great.
Yeah, and it was
It is the best fight in the movie.
Yeah, obviously, it was the right call.
If you do get a chance, though, go back and watch the section where the monkey steals the Sega, because there's a moment where Adam says, oh, you know where that is, don't you? Like, for the cave. And the monkey, I swear on my life, gives a side-eye coy look to the camera, and I laughed for no less than 30 seconds. Like, oh, you know where the cave is, don't you? And the monkey's just like, maybe.
I'll never tell.
Or maybe I'll never tail, and then just he wags his tail on the tail of the statue,
and then it hits the statue and it opens. He's like, "Oh damn it! No, I was gonna do more things." Shit.
Oh my God! Did anybody else laugh at Zach using the binoculars with one eye?
Oh my God! So yes, and my favorite part about that is so when they first show Johnny using them. And it has almost like a cartoon, like double binocular thing, except in my mind, I'm thinking it's weird because it's funny because that's not actually what you would see through binoculars. Because if you just look through binoculars, it just looks like the circle because that, how eyes work. But, and I was like, oh, that's funny that they, still added that to that. And then when he hands it over to Zach, and it's just a full half of the screen is just black, and they have just single circle on the other side, I was about to die. I was like, that's a great joke.
Again, another genuine laugh for me. I chuckled so much during this movie. But the younger brother using Lieutenant Spence as a sled.
So, well, right before that, in the cave scene, before I forget, I also loved when he pulls the sword, like the royal ancestral sword out. And it's different than the Ode to Joy, but it does this choir singing, and he just looks up and he hears it. But then he just and shrugs and then goes back to fighting. And I'm like, great, perfect.
Yep.
So the prisoner truck, what if someone falls, and then we get sledding Tone Loc down a hill?
I really hope that's part of the video game, by the way.
I don't think so.
I don't think it is.
I don't think I ever made it very far in the video game because I wasn't very
That's
good.
True. I was young, so it feels like I probably played the first 2 levels a lot, and then
I don't remember what's beyond the Stampede level in the Lion King game. I never beat that.
I always forget about Roof Ninja. He keeps jumping on me.
I gotta just take one step backwards. If only I could remember. But yeah, now we get a hint that maybe the girl is worried about him because she's like, you can't go down there and rescue your brother. And she's like, you worried about your revolution?
And that was their only Act 2 break fight. Oh, are you worried about your revolution? No, you. Oh, okay, cool. That was it.
Well, this is, and don't worry, because this is a scene where patented to our new season of Trashwatch, we bring in the horniness. Because she's about to charge out, and she goes, I'll go. So she walks out, goes up to the guards, stands her hand on her hip, and says something in Patusanese.
Who presumably should carry this character is supposed to be probably 16.
Yes, and these guards who are not 16 go, oh, one of them points to me, and then 6 of them go off into the weeds with her, and then they beat them all up. But then Johnny goes, what did you say to him? And she goes, you'll find out on our wedding night.
Oh my God.
So you guys are making a lot of assumptions. They're busy now. And once they get married, she'll be like, oh yeah, I just told him hey, you guys come over here. There's a prisoner. You gotta help me out.
Oh, so what you're saying is that she's going to give, on her wedding night, she's going to give him lessons in how to speak Patusan.
Exactly.
Yeah, so they dispatch them, but then they're surrounded again, and this is where we get, I know you've been worried about, listeners, this is where we get the resolution of our driving arc, because Adam finally gets to drive a vehicle.
Adam, you're driving.
Yes, and we line, Adam, you're driving. His fondest wishes come true, because we all know all 13-year-old boys think about driving and not about anything else.
Also, all these soldiers have guns. Why is none of them shooting the guns?
Maybe they don't have ammo.
Yeah.
All the metal on the island was used for Leslie Nielsen's face mask.
Yeah, I was like, this is a shitty military dictatorship. They might not actually be very well funded.
He's like, quick, melt down all the bullets. I need a new arm. Oh, did the elephant stomp it off? Yes, different time though.
Same goddamn elephant.
I will say, even though they immediately afterwards explain the joke, I love the fact that Rob Schneider just throws unlit dynamite at them,
so
and
good.
It wrecks one of the cars.
Because it would have been funny if he just threw it and it hit the road and rolled under. He's like, damn, and then you have to light it, dummy. But that he actually his first throw takes out a car and he gets excited,
and then and then they still yell at him no, light it first, dumbass. It's such a good, pure moment. Once again, Rob Schneider's best performance.
However, Rob Schneider taketh away.
As he so often does.
Because then, straight to fucking camera.
Which in my mind, I'm hoping that the character just did, and the camera just happened to be there. That he was just looking off to the side, as if he was looking at the camera. That everyone else just saw him look over to the side and say...
I will say this movie, like you mentioned earlier, it is really well played, like paced the whole time until all of a sudden we have to have a headband ceremony.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Like, they have, first off, he's like, I'm not sure you're worthy until now, which I'm like, he's gone through several trials to like reveal himself to be worthy. It's odd that now is the time after they escape this. It feels like it would have been in the cave when he beat you in combat. That would be the time to do this. And also, they treat it like this is some ancient heirloom that like the crown prince always wears this headband, but it's really just a cloth headband that everyone in the fucking movie is wearing.
Yeah, they give a pity one to Rob Schneider.
Which is the entire reason for the scene.
It's so yeah, Rob Schneider can get a like one that's tightened on too quickly.
Which I love the line, yeah, give him one.
And this is where we start feeling like this movie is kind of a series of music videos without lyrics.
Oh yeah, the 20-minute parade.
Yes.
You know how I love to watch my parades? From far away, obscured by trees.
You know how I like to watch my parade? With random cuts to an old man dancing on the side of the road.
Right.
He was into it though.
He was. That's it. Like I don't care. Like during the parade, I was like, this seems like a little long and time wasty. But then they got the old man dancing, and I was like, this sequence is the most important in the film.
There's also apparently someone using a rake the wrong way.
What?
I didn't go back and look at it, but that's what Brenna said. So we were watching that scene. She was like, he was just holding the rake the wrong way.
Well, the pacing picks up because now we are barreling towards the ending, because next we have our relationship chat. Like, okay, let's need to establish that they actually do care about each other. And so it's not this weird child bride situation where she's like, hey, I maybe like you, but also we're still kids and let's not rush into anything. And then we can still date. And so I'm like, okay, that's actually a fine place to leave it.
I really like that moment as a like way to get around that whole awkward situation that they were both put in.
Like it is like it's like 45 seconds of screen time in this film to like hand wave an issue, but at least they took the time, because a lot of films wouldn't bother to hand wave the issue. So good on you, Surf Ninjas. And also, once again, I think it's just that Kelly Hu is doing such a good job. Like her performance is so natural and believable that I was like, okay, I get a fully realized character, even if the script isn't giving me a fully realized character.
According to the trivia, they say her name once.
I was like, yeah, I say because I'm looking at the cast list right now. I'm not saying it because I know it so well from the film pointing it out. But then after that, we get to Surf O'Clock, because we need some more surfing in this. So yeah, Adam finally uses his powers beyond the Game Gear. And by powers, I mean he looks at some trees and realizes that surfboards can be made of wood. Which he asks, are Patusani any good at doing wood carving?
They're among the best in the world.
I hate these crafting mini games.
I know. It's every survival game. That's every game now.
Okay, I need a stone and a thing of wood so I can make the hammer. Then I need to get some metal for the axe.
So what was amazing to me about this sequence that I did not remember as a kid was that it also gave, quote unquote, an emotional payoff to the what if jokes. Where he finally admits, he's like, I've never surfed a day in your life. Like, yeah, we know it was like a joke, but like, what if you could? And I was like, wait, that was like a genuinely like good moment. What the fuck? How did that happen?
This movie is like silly and fun, but it's still like I think I'm not ironically enjoying this. I am legitimately enjoying this film, and yeah, it's moments like that where there's real heart in it. Like the relationship chat and this, like, okay, this is actually a real film.
It does feel like the movie that should be enjoyed, ironically, but it just isn't. Like, Brenna was very afraid to watch this with me because she was very afraid that it was going to be like the reason I loved it was because it was bad. Like, and because she's like, oh, is it good? And I'm like, I think it's a good movie, but also I know I'm very all up in nostalgia for this thing. But like, it's not that it's bad. It's just that it's like camp and 90s. It's not like aggressively bad. It's not The Room. And like the jokes are genuine and funny. There's just some that aren't.
The final fight's kind of just a jumbled chaos. So let's just talk about little moments we like from it, because there's no real like through line to the fight.
I have one moment I want to talk about the surfing sequence that I just shockingly really liked. There was a very brief moment where you see the two brothers surfing and Johnny like comes up and like taps like Adam's surfboard, like with his board. And it's like this, because we haven't really seen them interact as brothers for most of the movie because they've kind of been working on their own things. Like, but it was a really just good moment showing their relationship, like in the context of surfing, which is the one thing that we know that they do together that I really just appreciated.
My first note in the final fight sequence is that Johnny immediately gives away his special sword. That was so important.
And he gives it to Rob Schneider, who just uses it to kind of randomly chase people around.
God, that is the magic sword, isn't it?
Yes.
Yep, he immediately gives it away.
How does he get it back then? Because he has it for the end.
Because they all gather together.
Oh, do they? Okay, before that.
When what's his name takes a bullet.
But not before these small children are throwing dynamite at adults and murdering people.
Oh yeah, they definitely kill several people. Like not in the shot where they explode, but you see when they roll down, like dynamite rolls and stops right underneath someone's feet. That
also,
man is dead.
I don't want to be all like health and safety here, but if you're gonna be throwing dynamite, don't hold 3 sticks of dynamite, light all 3, and then start throwing them one at a time while holding 2
like
lit
like,
dynamites in your hand.
Yeah, these are not like firecrackers. Like this is sticks of dynamite.
Like, I know you don't want to pick up the lighter again, but just just maybe take them one at a time, guys.
Like, yeah, Zippo fluid is expensive. We get it, but it'll be fine. We'll reimburse you.
Now, I do want to clarify here. By this point in the movie, I was drunker than I've been on any episode we've done so far.
Oh Jesus.
I have a question. When Leslie Nielsen gets kicked in the balls, was there an actual bulge in the shorts that he grabs?
I'm pretty sure there's something physical in the pants for him
There
to grab.
is.
Yes. Either that or good for you, Leslie
And I
Nielsen.
feel like Brian has something to add about that.
Yes, I do. And I thought I was going crazy because I looked at the parents' guide partway through the movie and I was paranoid that I was like, wait, does this happen? Did I miss the scene where this happens? And finally, last 5 minutes of the movie. So this is in the IMDb Parents Guide under sex and nudity.
Say it, Brian.
Leslie Nielsen masturbates.
No.
That's it.
That's the whole entry.
I don't think he was jerking off. I thought
No, but
No, I think it was crushing,
his
testicles.
testicles. But
Yeah. Because it is a malfunctioning hand that is the situation. It was choking him, and then it is choking
and
him.
what I love even more about that entry is it doesn't even say like Colonel Chi. This is Leslie Nielsen masturbates. It doesn't even say in this scene or he did it in this movie. It's just like a state of fact about Leslie Nielsen.
He just masturbates, man.
Like they're gonna have to change it to past tense now, sadly. But the point is, Leslie Nielsen be masturbating.
Oh my God! Well, nothing. Spoiler alert: nothing else in this film is as good as Leslie Nielsen masturbates. But so there's a guy who gets who gets kicked down the stairs, and then he crawls back up, and then later in the fight gets kicked down the stairs again
by a different character.
Yeah.
But
By a different character. It's so good. Also, Leslie Nielsen is holding a gun to their adopted father, and the kid chucks his Game Gear at him and knocks the gun out of his hand.
To be fair, if those things are full of batteries, like I don't want to get hit by one of those thrown at high speed.
I'm betting in the contract it had to be like Game Gear must save the day was the note that Sega had.
I was so happy to see the guy who bangs the gong gets to bang the gong again.
It's also in prison. In the very first time that we see Leslie Nielsen.
Chris, that was very lyrical what you said. He is the guy who bangs the gong and he gets to bang the gong again.
That sounds like a theater kid warm-up.
Yeah, it's a theater warm-up.
The guy who bangs the gong gets to bang the gong again. The guy who bangs the gong gets to bang the gong again.
But Brandon, next show you direct, that's got to be part of your warm-up.
All right. For Sherlock, that's what we'll do. We did briefly mention, but so Zatch blocks a bullet for Johnny, and that's when it's revealed that Zatch is their uncle, a weird fact that they wouldn't have, and makes it even weirder that Zatch abandoned them as children.
Do we know that he hasn't just been following them, keeping ninjas away?
The opening line of the film is, I found them.
Okay, got it.
But yes, now we are back to a parade finale where they're all celebrating their new kings. Baba-Ram's back, baby.
Yes.
If you thought he was a one-sheen pony, we said nothing in the film comes back. Baba-Ram comes back.
And I didn't say nothing comes back. I said nothing's important.
That's fair.
Is it weird that they end the monarchy at this point?
Yeah, it's like Johnny's first action is as monarch is to dismantle the government.
Which would be first and only action at that point.
Although he still wants to be put on stamps, so he still wants to be commemorated.
Yeah.
I just realized something. the monarch using his first act as king to dismantle his own power is the political equivalent of, what if I didn't have this power?
Oh. This movie has layers.
Is this movie deep?
That poor bastard on the stairs comes back one last time.
Chef's kiss. A perfect way to do that.
Yeah, he stumbles up and he stops his big speech and just walks over. He's like, dude, you lost. Give it up. And he just like throws himself back down the steps.
He gives like a knowing nod and like a little like friendly wave, as in like thanks man for like letting me through the door that you were holding open. Like just like and then just rolls back down the stairs.
And so, dear listeners, I'm sure at this point, after listening to us have described this film, you're wondering one question that's burning at your heart. And I'm happy to tell you, yes, this movie does in fact end with a musical number.
Yeah, it's in the 90s.
So we get a band and all our characters singing along to Baba Ram once more as everyone dances.
Yeah, I round table it, guys, but I think we all know that it's a pretty clear consensus.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I tell everyone I know to watch this movie.
I've been trying to get people to watch this movie for decades.
The problem is, because of the like so bad it's good culture that's sprung up, it seems like a movie that would fit into that, but it's not. It's a fun movie that has no delusions about what it is.
I'm already planning on watching it again tonight with Merritt, because she has not seen this movie, and I'm like, we have to watch this.
Yeah.
That's it. Hold on, I just found the thing on IMDb that I've been looking for earlier. And that is...
We already found Leslie Nielsen masterpiece.
No, because I remember knowing that the guy that played the Baba Ram, like he's a really prolific actor. He has like over 200 credits on IMDb. But I was like, there was something that I like definitely know him from. He is in Dude, Where's My Car? As the your tattoo says sweet guy.
Wow.
Awesome.
So I did a little digging for the everyone's trash or the trash and treasure segment here, okay? I gotta tell you, there was not a lot of people that stood out. Most people who watched this movie thought it was great. It has 89% on Amazon of five-star reviews, and honestly, I agree with them. But one gentleman by the name of Joseph Stinson he's a little bit of an odd duck, all right? So this is his review of Surf Ninjas. The first time I watched this movie, I instantly knew it would be one of those movies that stuck with me. The quality of film reminds me of the type of movies I used to see in theaters growing up, so it has a huge nostalgia factor for me. The story is subpar for it, but I still enjoyed it thoroughly. I may not have a magic Game Gear to tell me what others think of this movie, but I know that my brother and his family certainly enjoys it with me. I thought it was kind of cute. But, oh, God. All right, so Joseph also gave a 5-star review to adjustable no-tail eyeglass sunglass holders for children. And this is what he says.
Oh, boy.
These are great, and it's so nice to have glasses that don't scooch. I am an adult human, and I guess I must have a tiny head, because the other ones I have tried are too big, but these are great. I don't know what I'm missing. Maybe I am truly child-sized, but I seem to be an ordinary human adult.
He's mentioned that he's a human adult too many times for me to be comfortable.
And one time was too many times, and then he doubled down on it.
So tell me more about Vincent Adultman.
Yeah.
He also gave a 5-star review for a the title is a little
a
weird.
Large trench coat.
No, like a papoose for a baby, but it's just
for him to be carried around by a regular adult.
I wish. He says this is good. Sorry, this is good for cats too. My cat is about 14 pounds, and this is good for him too. Though there are some little snaps and pops occasionally, and I'm probably going to have to mend some spots on my arms, eventually. But I expect that I have had no complaints, and it has a good strap length. He likes to watch me cook and sniff things, and it's nice that I can give him a little hug with one arm, or rub his head behind his ears with both hands. It took something to get used to, but it's very sturdy, you know? He doesn't trust me all the time, but when he does, he just kinda gets it.
I could tell you one thing, that cat is not enjoying 1 second of it.
No.
when he says good for a cat, he's definitely not considering the cat's perspective.
Not even a little at the beginning.
He's like, I just want physical affection from something, even if I have to put it in a papoose and carry it.
So you mentioned good reviews on this, but on Rotten Tomatoes, Surf Ninjas is sitting at 11%.
Oh my God,
they're
wrong.
That's
the ratings, and then the audience score is 68%, which is
come on, 1%
so
more, just 1% more.
Let's all right. Action call. Everyone register. Give it an audience score. We need to get this to a nice percentage.
Yep.
Nice.
Gonna have to happen.
Surf Ninjas certified nice.
Man, I wish they had that. It was like fresh, rotten, and nice.
Certified Schneider.
If you manage to get exactly 69%.
Yep, you get nice.
Just every movie now, just critics are just like doing like having like a Mexican standoff where each of them is like, we can't all give it a positive review or else we'll hurt its nice rating.
Yes. All right. Well, gentlemen, I think it's safe to say that Plumbing My Childhood Joys has once again yielded gold for the podcast.
You, sir, you are on a hot streak that is never ending.
All right. Well, let's see the horror show that Brian's about to unleash on us. Brian, you're the pick for next week. Let's play the movie game.
Oh, you guys play the movie game?
We just added it because I described it once we did Mission to Mars. I told them about the movie game. So year rating. So give us the year, the rating, the runtime, and genres.
The year is 1998. It's rated R. It is a horror/action, and it is an hour 47 minutes.
Hour 47. How horny is this film?
It's definitely got it. It's not like aggressively so.
Is it The Faculty?
No.
Damn. Well, I've extinguished my horror movies from 1998. They're not part of a series knowledge. So.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Are there supernatural elements?
I guess. I mean, we'll define supernatural.
Like magical powers of any kind, or magical creatures.
Magic, no. Creature, yes. It's not a magical creature, but it is a creature feature.
Does it involve a boat?
Yes.
I think I know the movie.
What is it?
Are we watching Deep Rising?
Hell yeah, we are.
Fuck yes! Oh my God, I'm
Deep
so excited.
Rising.
I love
this.
Deep
This
Rising.
is one of my like genuine. I love this movie. Like I really like this movie.
Yep,
it's a lot of fun.
You got me. As soon as you said creature feature, I'm like, fuck. I think he's doing Deep Rising.
I've never seen Deep Rising.
It's so fun.
Oh my God, I'm very happy about this.
All right, well then, so Deep Rising will be next week, and we'll see if Brian. I mean, let's face it, he's probably gonna do better than Mission to Mars.
Well, I mean that's a low bar.
That's true. Say what? Get over the low bars first.
All right. Does anybody have anything to plug? Anything going on?
Wear a mask and don't gather in large numbers. Jesus Christ, you're killing real people. Honestly, like I don't have anything to plug, but I need to plug because apparently.
Yeah, if you are going out and getting in large gatherings and not wearing a mask, you are every man's trash.
All right, well, guys, thanks for listening again to the Trashwatch Podcast. You can follow us on Facebook by searching Trashwatch Podcast. If you have a movie that you'd like to suggest for us, drop it in our email, trashwatchpodcast@gmail.com. Brian, what is our other social media stuff?
I'm sorry, I'm looking at the Deep Rising Parents Guide. And this guy has timestamps.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes!
Yes!
Well, I'll clarify. He has timestamps on the sex and nudity section.
Oh, so it's like, it's
okay,
Mr. Skin.
that's
Okay.
And there's also about 5 F words.
So is there just like one that's a pho and then F?
That's all it says. It's about 5
Well, no,
F words.
someone says Famke. Someone says Famke Johnson. So that's one. All right, what's the rest of our social media things?
We are on Instagram at Trashwatch Podcast, and we are on Twitter at Trashwatchcast.
And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Sam, thanks for joining us again, man. We hope to have you back.
Thanks for having me and giving me an excuse to rewatch Surf Ninjas.
And remember, everyone, Quansu,
Quansu, dudes!